On August 20th, 2025, the official Sonic YouTube channel uploaded a video called Sonic Racing CrossWorlds Competition Trailer. The whole concept of this trailer is Sonic and his rivals are all competing against each other while talking trash. A fun idea, right? Well, there's something really weird about this trailer. That being, the 4 characters they chose to star in this trailer. You've got Sonic, obviously. Shadow is there too, which makes sense as he's the Sonic rival. Then you've got Jet, which is also a good pick as CrossWorlds is a racing game, and Jet is known for being Sonic's rival in the Sonic Riders racing games. And our last character is, Espio? Espio is a really weird character to include as one of Sonic's rivals, and the trailer even calls attention to this.
It is a rare instance where we go head to head. Do not underestimate my swiftness.
Sonic and Espio barely have a relationship, let alone a rivalry. This is especially weird considering there are other better choices in the game's roster. You've got Knuckles, Silver, Metal Sonic, heck, I think SpongeBob would be a better pick. I find Espio to be a really fascinating character though. Espio the Chameleon first appeared in the 1995 game Chaotix, better known in the West as Knuckles' Chaotix, which is probably the most well-known game released on the Sega 32X, Sega's failed add-on for the Sega Genesis, which was released in November 1994. The titular Chaotix include Knuckles the Echidna from 1994's Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Charmy Bee from the 1992 Shogakukan Sonic the Hedgehog manga, Mighty the Armadillo from the 1993 arcade game SegaSonic the Hedgehog, and 2 new characters, Vector the Crocodile and Espio the Chameleon, although early concept art for Vector existed as far back as during the development for the original Sonic the Hedgehog that was released in 1991. In this concept art, Vector was the keyboard player in Sonic's rock band. Yeah, there were some crazy ideas during Sonic's creation. So technically, the only brand new character in Knuckles' Chaotix was Espio. Unless you want to count Heavy and Bomb, but I don't. So yeah, Espio, the only brand new character in the game. Which is fitting considering he's the first character you rescue in this game. Eggman managed to capture the other 4 Chaotix, so Knuckles rescued Espio before getting the other guys back. Back in the old days of gaming, especially old 2D platformers, there typically wasn't much in the way of in-game story. So, as a result, we'll have to go to the game's manual to learn more about Espio. The game's manual has short little tidbits about all of the characters to give you more about their personalities. In Espio's section, it says, "This colorful chameleon values his freedom above all else, and after he was freed from Dr. Robotnik's combi machine, he decided he must stop the evil doctor at all costs. He has a hot temper and an intense drive in everything he does, and sometimes his friend Charmy Bee has to remind him of his manners." Now, if you know the current version of Espio, this original incarnation seems completely different. The current Espio is cool, calm, and collected, not some free-spirited hothead. However, Espio's personality is only like this in the English manual, because in the Japanese manual, Espio is presented in a way that's a lot closer to his modern-day interpretation. Espio is portrayed in a way that makes him seem smarter and more level-headed, and is also a private detective, an occupation which was kept in his modern version. In any case, Espio is a pretty cool character in Knuckles' Chaotix. He has a ton of really sweet animations. Instead of rolling into a ball when he jumps and spin dashes like so many of the other Sonic characters, Espio spins like a top. Espio is a chameleon, so he has idle animations where he changes colors. When Espio is running, he just rushes straight in like a bull with his horn facing forward. Another cool thing that Espio can do is walk on walls, which is pretty useful for platforming. Espio is a solid dude, but unfortunately he had to debut in Knuckles' Chaotix, which isn't exactly the most popular or fondly remembered Sonic game. Thankfully though, Espio's career wouldn't end after this game. In fact, he would return to the series only a year later in 1996 in the arcade fighting game Sonic the Fighters. In Sonic the Fighters, Espio is one of the 8 playable characters who participates in a fighting tournament to decide who will be the one to take Tails' rocket to space to defeat Eggman and destroy the Death Egg. The biggest piece of Espio lore that this game added was that apparently Espio has a really long tongue. Unfortunately, the other Chaotix sans Knuckles didn't make it into this game, but honestly, if you're going to pick one of them, I think Espio was the best choice. Like I said, Espio's the first character you save in Knuckles' Chaotix. He's technically the only new character made for that game, and he even appears side by side with Knuckles on the title screen. Espio is the Knuckles' Chaotix character, aside from Knuckles, obviously. With Espio appearing in Knuckles' Chaotix and then Sonic the Fighters a year later, you would think that Espio was prime for a new spot as a permanent Sonic cast member. But nope. Like many of the other members of the classic Sonic cast, Espio effectively got yeeted out of existence once the series transitioned to the modern era with Sonic Adventure in 1998. Following the release of Sonic the Fighters in 1996 all the way until very late 2003, Espio was MIA. Thankfully, Espio, along with Vector and Charmy, would make their big return in 2003's Sonic Heroes, with updated designs, backstories, and personalities to boot. These Sonic Heroes versions of the characters would serve as the basis for their personalities going forward. Like I mentioned before, Espio's new personality is similar to how he was described in the Knuckles' Chaotix Japanese manual, being wise, intelligent, and a private detective. However, a new added trait to his character is that he's a ninja. He's got kunai, he can become invisible, and he can create tornadoes using his speed. As I previously said, Espio really didn't have much personality unless you went looking for it, so I'm fine with his new shinobi persona introduced in Sonic Heroes. Him being a chameleon ninja is a perfect combination. Sonic Heroes has 4 campaigns where you play as 3 characters simultaneously. There's Team Sonic with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, Team Dark with Shadow, Rouge, and Omega, Team Rose with Amy, Cream, and Big, and finally Team Chaotix with Espio, Charmy, and Vector. Each team member has a specific type that reflects how they play in the game. There are 3 types: Speed, Fly, and Power. Speed characters are fast and agile, Fly characters can reach high places and travel over large gaps, and Power characters can break through obstacles and make quick work of enemies. The Power characters are Knuckles, Omega, Big, and Vector. The Fly characters are Tails, Rouge, Cream, and Charmy, and the Speed characters are Sonic, Shadow, Amy, and Espio. I never really took Espio for a speed type, but it does make sense given that he is a ninja. When I think of ninjas, I think of silent assassins, moving stealthily and quickly. In a lot of ways, Espio is the odd man out amongst the speed types. For one, unlike Sonic, Shadow, and Amy, Espio's not a hedgehog. Also, unlike Sonic, Shadow, and Amy, Espio's not the leader of his team. You could argue that Rouge is the leader of Team Dark, but Team Dark's campaign revolves around Shadow learning about his past, and Shadow frequently takes the lead on the team, so I think it's safe to say that Shadow is running Team Dark. Espio, meanwhile, is definitely not the leader of the Chaotix. Vector is the head honcho. The Sonic Heroes manual even says so. As time went on, Vector became the most important character out of the Chaotix, showing up more frequently in games as a major character than Espio did, and having much more in the way of interactions with the other cast members, which is another reason why I find Espio really interesting. Espio had all of the makings of a major character in the Sonic series. He was a speed type in a series all about speed, he appeared in more games than Vector by the time that Sonic Heroes came out, and he's a freaking ninja. But Espio never really reached the heights that it seemed like he had the potential to get to. Post Sonic Heroes, Espio kind of faded into the background. He did appear as a partner character in Shadow 05, where he had the honor of being one of the few characters in the game, other than Shadow, to swear.
So, I see you sneaky rats are back again, huh?
Damn, we've been detected.
Another one of the few games that Espio got to star in instead of Vector was Sonic Rivals 2 in 2007, where Espio was a playable character. I'm guessing they decided to have Espio be the Team Chaotix rep, as Sonic Rivals is a racing game, so seeing as though Espio is portrayed as a speed type, it makes sense. All of the story campaigns in this game have the characters operating in duos: Sonic and Tails, Shadow and Metal Sonic, Knuckles and Rouge, and Espio teams up with Silver. I'm pretty sure that the only reason why these two became teammates is because the developers couldn't think of anyone else to pair Silver with other than Blaze, who surprisingly didn't show up in these games. Outside of the Team Chaotix members and Knuckles, Silver is one of Espio's only other friends, so it is cool to see them interact, and there are even several parallels between the two. Silver is the odd man out of the hedgehogs in that he isn't known for being particularly fast, and Espio is the odd man out of the speed types in that he isn't a hedgehog. Both Silver and Espio can be incredibly cold and pragmatic, with Silver deciding to kill Sonic to save the future in Sonic 06, and Espio deciding that Eggman deserves to be punished for his crimes even though Eggman has lost his memories and became a completely different person in the first arc of the Sonic IDW comic. And also, both Silver and Espio first debuted in Sonic games that weren't well received. Espio's most prominent appearance in recent years was his role in The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, where he played a poet in the murder mystery game on the Mirage Express train. Espio was actually Sonic's quote-unquote murderer, so he had a really big role in that game. Espio was not typically very talkative, but he does get a lot of dialogue in Murder of Sonic, so we learn quite a few things about Espio. Like, for one, he's fluent in 17 different languages, and he's a poet. Not a very good one, but still a poet nonetheless. In the past, I always thought of Espio as the silent, cool guy, but at least in his recent appearances, and especially in this game, he seems more like someone who's trying really hard to be the silent, cool guy, which in a way makes him a bit more goofy and endearing. While I do like Espio, I don't think he's a character who needs a prominent role in every game. I'm perfectly fine with him just being another one of the guys, and him being a side character makes sense because he's a ninja. He's supposed to be in the background. But yeah, I like him. I think Espio is a pretty cool dude. In any case, I think that's about it for this video. If you're interested in watching more videos where I talk about stuff, here's a video you might enjoy, and here's a whole playlist of Sonic videos for you to check out if you're looking for something to marathon or to just have something to listen to as background noise. That's all I've got to talk about for today though, so thanks for watching y'all, and have a great rest of your day.